Voting in Australia's closely fought general election has closed in the country's eastern states, where counting is now underway. A record 16.4 million Australians are registered to vote in the national elections. They're choosing all the seats in the lower house and about half of Senate seats. The Liberal National Coalition is fighting to stay in power under 9-month PM Scott Morrison. But first exit polls indicate a win for Bill Shorten's Labor. Polls opened at 08:00 Canberra time, 2200 GMT Friday, but more than 4 million Australians have voted in pre-polling. Early exit polls suggest a victory for the opposition Labor Party, although polling in Western Australia continues until 1800 local, 1000 GMT. A win for Labor would make its leader Bill Shorten the next PM, succeeding centre-right Liberal Scott Morrison. Australia has mandatory voting and a record 16.4 million enrolled voters. Both leaders were out early at polling booths on Saturday, in a last-ditch pitch for votes. Shortly after polls in the East shut, a 9-Galaxy poll showed Labor beating the incumbent Liberal coalition 52-48, with a parliamentary majority. The poll was based on 3,300 voters in 33 seats. Saturday's vote is the first general election since political infighting ousted Australia's fourth leader in a decade. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says he has united his Conservative government in the 9 months since he replaced Malcolm Turnbull. But Mr. Shorten has pressed his case with stark policy alternatives, promising to cut tax breaks for the wealthy and to lower greenhouse gas emissions. Australia holds elections every 3 years, but no Prime Minister has succeeded in serving a full term since 2007. Surveys have shown that the economy, cost of living, environment and health are central concerns for voters. It is in many ways a generational issue election, experts say, with younger people in particular voicing frustration about climate change and a lack of affordable housing. Others have argued that older Australians would be most affected by tax reform proposals that have dominated much of the campaign. It follows fierce debates in the past year about the rolling leadership turmoil, formal recognition of Indigenous Australians, and the treatment of female MPs in Parliament. As the Liberal National Government seeks its third term, Mr. Morrison claims to have healed bitter internal divisions that brought down Mr. Turnbull. He has campaigned primarily on economic issues, often doing so alone while painting the election as a choice between himself and Mr. Shorten. Mr. Shorten, who has led Labor for 6 years, has instead emphasised his team's stability and policies on climate change, cost of living and health. Also vying for support are minor parties including the Greens, One Nation and the United Australia Party, as well as a raft of independents. Opinion polls have consistently put Labor in front on a two-party preferred basis, but the gap has narrowed closer to the election. This is despite the same measures showing that Mr. Shorten trails Mr. Morrison as preferred Prime Minister. Voting closes on Saturday at 1800 local time in each Australian state and territory. The first results will be expected soon afterwards. News script taken from BBC. Thanks for watching.